Hey guys, Creator Mom. How's it going? Get your coffee. Just kidding. So, training ourselves out of maladaptive responses. Fun, right? Very scary, actually. Scary. Emotionally scary. Anyways, so narcissistic people. There's one thing I noticed about narcissistic people. They want you to feel how they feel. If they walk in a room and they're upset about something, you attend hut to them and and hurry up and turn on your empathy, hurry up and address their needs and then feel the way they feel. You know what I mean? Like if you're like, "Oh, what's going on?" and they're upset, and then it's just like they do this thing where you have to feel, they want you to feel the way that they feel. If they're mad, they want you to be mad. If they're sad, they want you to be sad. Like you can't have your own emotions. Like they can't be sad and then like you be positive or joyful or happy. Like that shit pisses them off. And I'm not saying if somebody's sad, ignore their needs or don't ask them what's wrong or anything. This is different. It's just, and it's not only you. Say you have a husband who's a narcissist and it's you and your kids in the room. He wants everyone in the room to be upset. They want everybody in the room to be upset for the same reason that they're upset. And my mother will do this shit too. They need to dominate the room with their emotion, and everybody needs to attend hut to them. That's how I call it, attend hut, because it's very almost like militant. Why is nobody paying attention to me? Or, oh, so I'm gonna be over here upset and you're gonna be fucking happy? Like, they just make you feel like you have to feel the way they feel in the moment. Everyone. It's very manipulative. Then, so, okay, so you grow up with a person like this, that they even do it to kids. They do it to kids too. They don't care. I remember one time my ex was upset about something. His oldest son had, whatever. It doesn't matter if he was upset about something. He was upset about something. I was being like, oh, wow, yeah, empathic, understanding. But one of the kids were in the van and one of them was laughing about something. But they weren't even paying attention to what we were talking about, because it's not a kid's job to attend to an adult's emotions. In my opinion, it's not a kid's job to carry and help an adult with their emotions. So one of my sons was laughing about something that had nothing to do with what he was talking about. And his dad came over and was like, don't you realize this is your half brother? This is your, trying to make him feel bad because he had no clue what the germ was talking about. Like, this is how they are. So, I mean, at that point, I was like, he doesn't even know what you're talking about. Like, he's a kid. Like, I'm here with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just very inappropriate. So, at any rate, reminds me of something else. But I won't share that. Because that's a story from a group that I'm in, so. It was a story where this kid was almost, the way this person described the story was that the kid had to make the other parent or tend to the other parent, so the other parent felt better about something, you know. It was just like, oh, it just seemed very like off to me. But me, and it was extra triggering to me because of how I grew up, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, this relates to my present day, you know, because it is not your fault that you gained maladaptive, quote unquote, responses, because you need unhealthy responses for an unhealthy person when you're a kid. Okay, you need a way to cope with the maladaptive person, so you have to create maladaptive responses. The thing is breaking ourselves out of these responses. Okay, that's where the work comes in. I think, you know, is breaking myself out of these responses is very uncomfortable. For instance, with this job I have, this fear was creeping on me, that a fear of making somebody disappointed, right? So I thought, because I talk to the guy that I work with every day, either by phone or text or whatever. And I thought, and the inner child in me, or whatever, this part in me was just like saying like, oh my God, if I talk to him today and I haven't made any appointments, like I've made 70 phone calls, but I haven't been able to make any appointments because nobody's wanted to make an appointment. I cannot bear it. I cannot bear it. That's what this part of me was just saying. I can't bear it. I can't bear it. If I speak to him and I don't have like an inkling of good news, like I can't bear being like the bearer of bad news, and like then what if he feels disappointed? He's going to be disappointed, and I have to stop that. I have to prevent that from happening, really, because I need to keep myself safe. Because if he's disappointed, then that means that I'm unsafe, right? If that person's disappointed, I'm unsafe, because I don't know how they're going to act. They might fire me. They might blame me. This is where my fear of being blamed for not being good enough, is shining through. That, I think, is more scary to me than being fired. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, what if he blames me for not being good enough and not doing good enough? Oh my God, how am I going to handle that? You know, I think that's what this part of me is trying to keep me safe from accusation. Maybe, I guess I experienced that when people get disappointed in me, they accuse me, right? When they get disappointed, the next reaction is accusation. It's funny because this happened with my ex too, in an instance early in our marriage. He had a tooth problem and he went to the dentist and he was having a bad experience. I was home with the kids. I think we had 2 at the time. And you know, at any rate, I was home with the kids and he was out at the dentist, and he called me crying. Oh, they're yanking my teeth and I can feel it. This is the most terrible experience, which is awful, right? I'm like, oh my God, like, so sorry that's happening to you, you know? And he's like, what? And then, right? So he was disappointed that he was having a terrible experience. Then he reached in to blame and accuse me. He said, why aren't you doing anything about it? Why aren't you looking for another dentist? And I didn't even know I was supposed to be looking for another dentist. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know I was supposed to rush to this solution that I didn't even know I was supposed to be fucking doing. You know what I mean? He never asked me. He didn't say, hey, look, I'm having a really bad experience. Can you please help me look for another dentist, do you think? No. Maybe he said in his head, I don't know, but he just straight went into the accusation. Why aren't you doing anything about it? This is your fault. You know what I mean? Like, why aren't you looking for another dentist for me? And guess what I did? I hurried up and I looked for another dentist, and I found a good one, you know? It was a very bad experience for me. It made me feel so low, so confused. You know, being blamed for something that I didn't feel was my fault, you know? It just really confused me. That's all I can really think to. Confused and angered me. So this is it right here for me. Like, this is definitely a wound Being blamed and accused is a big fear for me. So, this job I have, like, that's showing up. Like, oh my God, if he's disappointed, then the fact that you didn't make any appointments, he's going to blame and accuse you that you're not doing a good enough job, which some bosses do. I already experienced one guy, and I let him go because he was completely unprofessional, completely abusive mentality. So that's my fear, that's the fear rearing its head. And this is my chance now to break the pattern, because my maladaptive response that wants to protect me is saying, well, first it was saying, cut your hours. Remember, I made a video about that. Cut your hours. Stay small. The less you ask for, the less they'll expect, and the less they'll become disappointed. And then now the part saying was, I've been texting as well. That could be part of the part. Doing a text to him like, hey, when I don't make appointments. So I texted that I made an appointment too. I have made a few appointments. I've made 3. They were all successful. Well, the third one is coming up, but the last 2 were successful in the fact that the people didn't cancel and they actually did have appointments. We're waiting on the sales, but so I think this part is doing this thing where I'm texting him in advance before he calls. It's like it's still playing. It's still trying to show up. But what else? It is oh, so now I'm starting to feel more confident in my affirmations. So about this job, I thought to myself, okay, good affirmation could be a good declaration, right? Could be, I schedule multiple appointments, right? Because I believe, yes, I asked for God's grace. I believe in God's favor, but I also have my declaration, right? What's your declaration about it? My declaration is I schedule multiple appointments per week. I felt this subtle resistance to the idea of scheduling at least one appointment a day. And I asked my inner self, why are you so resistant to that idea? And again, it was this idea, no, we got to stay small. If we make an appointment a day, that's going to set the bar. That's going to set an expectation. And then when you can't meet that expectation, he's going to be mad. Again, this part assumes that this person is going to have these reactions based on past instances. You know what I'm saying? Based on past experiences. And it's wrong. It's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm projecting this stuff onto this guy, and maybe he will be mad. Maybe the part isn't wrong. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the person would get mad or frustrated, but it's okay. That's what I have to get the part to understand. And the only way to do that is to start acting differently, to not act the way the part wants me to act, to not do the things it wants me to do to stay safe. I have to build neural pathways going the other way. And I was expressing this in my homeschooling group, my online homeschooling group. These ladies are beautiful. They're beautiful people, just gems, And the one lady goes, yeah, she's like, you could try out saying, like, if you speak to him and say you didn't make appointments, say no appointments today, but, looking forward to, making more phone calls tomorrow. And she had such a joyful voice, and I was like, there's no way I could say that in such a jovial voice, like a uplifted voice, I have to sound, I thought, no, I have to sound disappointed, because if I don't sound disappointed, then he's going to be mad at me, because this part is assuming that this guy is going to be disappointed. So I have to match that disappointed energy and assume it, right? Assume it first, just to protect myself, and be like, say it in like maybe a sad way, or, oh, no appointments today, but then that's so bad, guys. That is so bad, because he might not even be feeling that way, and then I'm bringing that energy. Yeah. Wow. I'm assuming it and then bringing that energy, and then probably going to get that energy back. You know what I mean? Just because this maladaptive shit. So then I was laughing, because the way she said it was just like, oh, no appointments today. Just like carefree. And I just thought, holy shit, that would be that. I don't know, that feels really scary. I don't know if I could do that, but it's something that I think I need to inch over into, you know, standing in my truth, standing in my work, in my confidence, because I'm not doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? I'm doing my job. It's to be like, no appointments today. Or, yeah, I didn't make any appointments, or nobody, whatever. Just trying not to act in a way where I'm assuming something negative and then creating negativity, you know? So this is where I believe that I have to start, because I've been asking myself, how do I change this? How do I change this part? I think merely it's by taking different actions. It's by awareness of the issue and then not listening to the directives of that part anymore, and then doing opposite of what that part is telling me to do. This is how I'm going to create a new behavior pattern, and, you know, confidence, building the worthiness and all of that. And it doesn't feel easy, but anyways, it's got to be done, because hanging on to the part, you know, when you try to hang on to old stuff, it just gets so dead and it gets embarrassing. So it's embarrassing. Anyways, yeah, this was, wow, 16 minutes. I'm about to run out of memory, but I feel like I helped myself at least reinforce some ideas here. I like what Sonia says. Sonia Frank. Whatever you tell yourself is true, is true. All right, guys, have a great Saturday.